I wasn't supposed to find out this way. Standing in our bedroom closet at 2 in the morning, jet-lagged and exhausted from a red-eye flight that landed 6 hours early, I reached for what I thought was my old gym bag on the top shelf. Instead, I pulled down Ashley's leather weekend tote, the expensive one I'd bought her last Christmas. The zipper was half open, and when the bag tilted, a phone I'd never seen before slid out and clattered onto the hardwood floor. Not her iPhone. A cheap Android burner with a cracked screen protector. My hands moved on autopilot, picking it up. The screen lit up without needing a passcode. She'd left it unlocked. The messaging app was still open, and I found myself staring at a conversation that made my stomach drop through the floor. Can't wait for Friday. Tell him you're visiting your sister again. He just left for Denver. We have the whole weekend. Come over tomorrow night? Wear that thing I like. I scrolled up. The messages went back 14 months. 14 months of lies, of business trips that apparently weren't, of sister visits that never happened. Photos I couldn't unsee, not explicit enough to violate decency, but clear enough to destroy 12 years of marriage in 30 seconds. The contact name was just a letter. J. My wife of 12 years. Ashley Brennan. The woman who cried at our wedding, who held my hand through my father's funeral, who'd stood beside me when I'd started my software consulting firm from nothing and built it into something that cleared $500,000 a year. The mother who'd miscarried twice and mourned with me. Who'd said, just last week before I left for my conference, that she loved me more than anything. That Ashley had been lying to my face for over a year. I sat down hard on the closet floor, still holding the burner phone. My flight from Denver wasn't supposed to land until 8 this morning. The conference had ended early. The keynote speaker canceled due to a family emergency, and they'd scrapped the last day. I'd caught a standby flight at midnight, thinking I'd surprise Ashley with an early return. Maybe take her out for breakfast at that cafe she loved downtown. Instead, I was sitting in my own closet at 2:17 in the morning, reading messages that detailed exactly how my wife had been spending her free time. The specifics made me nauseous. Not just the physical betrayal, but the casual intimacy of it. Inside jokes, pet names, plans for a future that apparently didn't include me. After his Denver trip, he's got Austin for 3 days. We could drive up to the cabin. My cabin, the lake house in northern Wisconsin that my grandfather had left me. The place where I'd proposed to Ashley on the dock at sunset. She'd been taking this man there. I forced myself to keep reading, documenting everything with screenshots on my own phone. My hands shook, but my mind had gone oddly clear and cold. Shock, probably. The messages painted a complete picture. Regular meetups, always timed around my travel schedule. She'd been careful, meticulous even. No credit card trails, everything in cash, no social media posts. She'd even created a fake friend named Monica, whose texts I now realized were probably all from this burner phone. Then I found the photos she'd sent him. Not the intimate ones. Those were bad enough. But the ones of our home, our bedroom, my office, our life, packaged and presented to a stranger like props in her secret second life. One photo stopped me cold. It was taken in my home office, showing my desk with my laptop open. The screen was visible in the background, clearly displaying a client contract I'd been working on. The contract for Meridian Tech, my biggest client, worth $200,000 a year. The timestamp was from 3 months ago. Why would she photograph my office? Why would she send it to him? I backed out of the messages and checked the phone's photo gallery. More pictures of documents, bank statements, tax returns, the partnership agreement for my business with my 2 partners, Kevin and Brian. Screenshots of my email inbox. This wasn't just an affair. This was something else entirely. My chest tightened. I stood up, moved to my office down the hall, and powered up my computer. While it loaded, I checked our bedroom. Ashley was sound asleep, her blonde hair spread across the pillow, her face peaceful. She'd always been a heavy sleeper. The irony of her serenity while my world collapsed wasn't lost on me. In my office, I logged into our bank accounts. Everything looked normal at first glance: checking, savings, the joint investment account. But when I dug deeper into the transaction history, I found it. Small transfers, always under $5,000, moving from our savings to her personal checking account over the past year. 53 transfers in total. Nearly $200,000 moved in amounts designed not to trigger automatic alerts. Then transferred out again to an account I didn't recognize. I sat back in my chair, the burner phone still in my hand, and felt something shift inside me. Not just betrayal, not just hurt. Something colder and more focused. Ashley had been systematically stealing from our joint accounts while sleeping with another man. She'd been photographing confidential business documents. She'd been planning something, and whatever it was, it involved dismantling everything I'd built. The question was, what was I going to do about it? I looked at the clock. 2:43 in the morning. In a few hours, Ashley would wake up, expecting me to be in Denver for another day. She had no idea I was home. No idea I'd found her burner phone. No idea that her carefully constructed deception had just collapsed. I had time. Time to think. Time to plan. Time to figure out exactly what she'd done and why. And time to make sure she regretted every single lie. I closed the financial records and checked the time. 2:47 a.m. Ashley won't wake for another 4 hours at least. The house settles around me, creaking with the weight of secrets. My phone sits on the desk beside her burner. I pick it up and scroll through my contacts until I find the name I need. Daniel Wright, my attorney. Not a divorce lawyer, Dan handles corporate law for the firm. But he'll know who to call, and more importantly, he'll understand the business implications of what Ashley's stolen. I start typing an email, then stop. Too traceable, too permanent. This needs to happen face to face. Instead, I open my calendar and block out tomorrow, today, technically, as personal emergency. Then I draft a quick message to my team lead saying I'm taking a sick day. Food poisoning from airport sushi. Simple, believable, impossible to verify. I'm about to set the phone down when it vibrates in my hand. The notification makes my blood run cold. An email from an address I don't recognize. No subject line. Sent at 2:51 a.m. I tap it open. You found the phone. Good. But you're missing the bigger picture. Check your business email, the Meridian folder. Look at what she sent them. My finger hovers over the delete button. Every instinct screams this is wrong. Someone's watching. Someone knows I found the burner. Someone's been tracking this whole thing. But I open my work email anyway. The Meridian Tech folder contains our correspondence with their CTO about the infrastructure overhaul contract. 18 months of negotiations, technical specifications, pricing structures. It's the biggest deal we've ever landed. $2.3 million over 3 years, with potential for expansion. I scroll through the familiar emails, looking for anything out of place. Nothing jumps out until I sort by recipient and see it. 3 emails forwarded from my account to an address at TechBridge Solutions, a competitor I've never heard of. The forwarded messages contain our complete technical proposal, our pricing breakdown, and our implementation timeline. Everything TechBridge would need to undercut our bid. Except I didn't forward them. The timestamps show they were sent during business hours while I was in meetings. From my computer. Using my credentials. Ashley has my passwords. I gave them to her years ago for emergencies, to access bank accounts if something happened to me, to handle bills if I was traveling. The kind of trust you build over 12 years of marriage. The kind of trust that makes you stupid. My phone vibrates again. Another email from the anonymous sender. She's been doing this for 6 months. 4 different clients, 4 different competitors. TechBridge is owned by Jay's cousin. The money she's stealing? That's just the advance payment for corporate espionage. Check the photo timestamps on her burner. They correspond to your client meetings. She's been selling your business piece by piece. Asterisk. I grab the burner phone and open the photo gallery again. This time, I don't focus on the content. I look at the metadata. The timestamps tell the story my brain refused to process earlier. September 14th, 2:30 p.m. Photos of the Stratton Industries contract. I was in a meeting with our development team that afternoon. Ashley was home, organizing the basement. October 3rd, 11:15 a.m. The Apex financial proposal. I'd left it on my desk that morning. Ashley brought me lunch that day, said she wanted to surprise me. November 28th, 4:45 p.m. Partnership distribution documents. The day before Thanksgiving. I'd been on a conference call in my home office. Ashley had knocked once, brought me coffee, smiled at me while I mouthed, "Thank you." Every act of kindness was cover. Every sweet gesture was access. The anonymous email pings again. You're wondering who I am, why I'm helping you. That doesn't matter yet. What matters is that you have 36 hours before Jay and Ashley execute their exit strategy. Friday morning, 8 a.m., they're meeting with a business attorney in Austin to discuss investment opportunities. The tickets are already booked. She's planning to tell you it's a spa weekend with her sister. I check Ashley's burner. Scroll back through the messages until I find it. Can't wait for Friday, baby. Once we meet with Garrett, we can finally move forward. Just 2 more days of playing house. I know, I'm so tired of pretending, but we're almost there. The Meridian deal closes Thursday. That's the last piece we need. Then we're done. You're amazing, you know that? Most people couldn't pull this off. I learned from the best. See you Friday. I love you. The last message was sent at 11:47 p.m. tonight. While I was boarding my plane in Denver, while she thought I was safely away for another day. My hands are steady now. The initial shock has burned away, leaving something colder and more focused in its place. I forward all the messages to my personal email using the burner's screenshot function. Can't risk syncing the device itself. Then I photograph every financial record, every business document photo, every piece of evidence. Another email arrives. Good. You're thinking clearly. Now here's what you need to know. Jay is Jason Kelly. He works for TechBridge as their VP of Business Development. He and Ashley met at a conference in Chicago 14 months ago, the one you couldn't attend because of your father's funeral. This isn't a crime of passion. It's a calculated business play. She's been grooming you for this since before you even met. Ashley Brennan isn't her real name. It's Ashley Brennan Kelly. Jason's her husband. They've been married for 16 years. You're the mark, not the spouse. The room tilts sideways. I read it again. Then again. No. That's impossible. I've seen her driver's license, her passport, her birth certificate. We filed joint tax returns. We've been to her parents' house except I haven't. Not in person. Her parents died in a car accident 3 years into our marriage, before I could meet them. I went to the funeral, met distant cousins and family friends, none of whom I'd stayed in touch with. I pull up our wedding photos on my computer. Small ceremony, registry office, just a few friends on each side. Her maid of honor was college roommate, Rebecca, who moved to Portugal the following year. Her other guests were work colleagues from a job she'd quit 6 months later. My guests were real. My family, my friends, my business partners, all verifiable, all present. Hers were props. The anonymous emailer sends a final message, and this time there's an attachment. A marriage certificate from Cook County, Illinois. Jason Michael Kelly and Ashley Marie Brennan Kelly. Dated 2007. 3 years before I met her. Now you understand. This isn't about an affair. It's about a long con. They've done this before, 3 times that I can prove. They target successful entrepreneurs, establish long-term relationships, extract everything they can, then disappear. The last victim lost his business and his house. He's still paying off the debts they created in his name. You have evidence now. You have time. You have the advantage. The question is, what are you going to do with it? I sit in the darkness of my office, surrounded by 12 years of manufactured memories, and I start making a list. First, Daniel Wright, corporate attorney, first thing tomorrow morning. He'll need to see everything. Second, forensic accountant. Someone who can trace every dollar and build a case that will stand up in court. Third, private investigator. I need to know everything about Jason Kelly and the woman sleeping in my bed. Fourth, lock down the business. Change every password, secure every file, protect every client relationship before they can do more damage. Fifth, let them think they've won. Let Ashley believe I'm still the trusting husband. Let her go to Austin on Friday. Let them walk into whatever meeting they've planned, because I'll be there too, with attorneys, with evidence, with law enforcement if necessary. My phone vibrates one last time. Now you're ready. Do what you have to do. I look at the message for a long moment, then delete the entire email thread. Whoever's helping me has their own agenda, but right now, our interests align. I shut down the computer and carefully return everything to exactly where I found it. The burner phone goes back in Ashley's weekend bag, positioned precisely as it was. The financial records return to their hidden folder. When I finally crawl into bed at 4:23 a.m., Ashley stirs slightly but doesn't wake. Her breathing remains deep and even, her face peaceful in the dim light from the hallway. She looks like the woman I married, the woman I trusted, the woman who doesn't exist. I close my eyes and wait for morning. The email arrives at 3:47 a.m. while I'm still sitting in my home office, surrounded by printed evidence and handwritten notes. Subject: final piece. You'll want this. No greeting. Just a link to a cloud storage folder. I click it, half expecting another bombshell. What I get is worse than anything I've imagined. Video files, dozens of them. The first one is dated 2 years ago. I recognize the setting immediately, my own living room, shot from an angle that suggests a camera hidden somewhere near the bookshelf. Ashley and I are having dinner, discussing a potential partnership expansion. I'm sharing confidential projections, client names, strategic plans. She's recording everything. The second video shows her photographing documents in my office while I'm in the shower. The third captures her copying files from my laptop onto a thumb drive. I force myself to watch them all. There are 43 videos spanning 18 months, a systematic catalog of corporate espionage filmed with multiple hidden cameras throughout our house. The last video is different. It's not surveillance footage. It's a recording of a video call between Ashley and Jason, dated 3 weeks ago. He's getting suspicious, Ashley says. She's in our bedroom, speaking quietly. He asked about the Austin trip. Stick to the plan. Jason's voice is calm, authoritative. Friday morning, we meet with Garrett, sign the papers, and transfer everything. By the time Mark figures it out, the accounts will be empty and we'll be on our way to Costa Rica. What about the house? Already have a buyer lined up. Cash sale closes in 30 days. Your name's on the deed. He can't stop it. My hands go numb. The house, my father's house, the one I inherited, the one I stupidly added her name to after our first miscarriage because she said it would make her feel more secure. And the business? Ashley asks. TechBridge is ready to move on his clients the second we have the contracts. We've already made contact with 4 of his biggest accounts. Once they see the proprietary algorithms you copied, they'll jump ship. His firm will be worthless within 6 months. She smiles. Ashley smiles. 12 years, worth every second. The video ends. I sit in the darkness, processing. They're not just stealing money. They're planning to destroy everything I've built. My business, my home, my reputation, a scorched earth exit strategy. Another email appears. You have 38 hours until they execute. The attorney's name is Robert Garrett. His office is in downtown Austin. Friday, 10 a.m. Everything you need is in the folder. Bank routing numbers, shell company registrations, property transfer documents, all of it. One more thing. Jason Kelly has done this before, 3 times. The women he targeted all committed suicide within 2 years of being destroyed. He's good at what he does. Don't let Ashley walk away. Don't let him win. This ends Friday. I stare at the screen. The anonymous emailer has given me everything. Evidence, timeline, even the exact location of their final move. But the message feels different now. More urgent. Almost desperate. Who are you? I type back. The response comes immediately. Someone who knows what it's like to lose everything to them. Someone who wants to watch them burn. You're not their first victim, Mark, but you're going to be their last. Do what you have to do. Then, nothing. The email address shows as invalid when I try to reply again. I open the cloud folder and start downloading everything. Bank records showing transfers to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. Incorporation documents for shell companies in Delaware and Nevada. Property deeds with forged signatures. Email chains between Jason and Ashley going back 16 years, long before I even met her. And photos. God, the photos. Ashley and Jason at a beach resort in 2008. Ashley wearing a wedding ring I've never seen. Jason kissing her neck while she laughs at something off camera. More photos from 2011, 2014, 2017. Different locations, same couple. A continuous relationship spanning nearly 2 decades. One photo stops me cold. It's from 2012, the year I met Ashley. She's standing in front of a whiteboard covered in handwriting. I zoom in and read the text. Target, Mark Brennan. Age, 34. Software consulting. Estimated net worth, $800,000. No family. Recent loss, father. Vulnerable. Timeline, 10 to 12 years. Below that, a list of objectives. Gain access to business, establish joint accounts, get on property deed, copy proprietary data, build dependency, execute exit. I was a Mark from day one. Everything. The chance meeting at that conference, the whirlwind romance, the miscarriages that made me feel like we were bonded by shared trauma. All of it was calculated. The miscarriages. I pull up Ashley's medical records from the folder. The anonymous emailer has been thorough. According to the documents, Ashley has never been pregnant. The miscarriages were staged using fake medical reports and a complicit doctor who lost his license 3 years ago for insurance fraud. I stand up, walk to the bathroom, and vomit. When I come back, there's one more file in the folder that wasn't there before. A video file, uploaded while I was gone. The timestamp shows it was recorded yesterday. The location is a hotel room I don't recognize. Ashley and Jason are in bed together. The video is brief, less than 2 minutes, but the audio is clear. Think he suspects anything? Jason asks. Mark? No, he's too busy playing the devoted husband. Too trusting. Too stupid. You did good, babe. 12 years is a long con, even for us. Worth $500,000 and a destroyed business. Plus, watching him scramble when he realizes what happened will be priceless. They laugh. Both of them. The video ends with Jason saying, Friday, we're done with this life. New identities, new target, fresh start. I close the laptop and look at the clock. 4:23 a.m. Ashley will wake up in about 3 hours. She'll come downstairs, make coffee, ask about my trip. She'll kiss me and tell me she missed me and suggest we do something nice this weekend. And I'll smile and pretend everything is fine, because I have a plan now. I spend the next 2 hours making calls. First to my attorney, Greg Paulson, leaving a message marked urgent. Then to my accountant. Then to a private investigator I've used for background checks on potential business partners. By 6:30 a.m., I've moved every dollar from our joint accounts into a new business account Ashley doesn't know exists. I've changed all my passwords, locked down my client files, and sent encrypted backups to my attorney. I hear movement upstairs. Ashley's awake. I delete my browser history, clear the downloads folder, and shut down my computer. The printed evidence goes into my briefcase. The burner phone goes back into my pocket. When Ashley comes downstairs 20 minutes later, I'm sitting at the kitchen table with coffee and my laptop, reviewing a fake client proposal I created just for this performance. "You're up early," she says, kissing the top of my head. "Couldn't sleep?" "Jet lag," I say. "Plus, I've got that Austin trip Friday. Wanted to get ahead on some work." "Right, Austin." She pours herself coffee. "When do you leave?" "Thursday night. Should be back Saturday." She nods, her expression perfectly neutral. "I'll miss you." "I'll miss you too." The lie tastes like ash, but I deliver it smoothly. She sits across from me, cradling her mug. "How was Denver?" "Productive. Landed the contract." "That's wonderful, honey." She reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. "I'm so proud of you." I look at her. Really look at her. The woman I've loved for 12 years. The woman I've shared a bed with, grieved with, built a life with. None of it was real. "What are your plans for Friday?" I ask casually. "Just errands. Maybe lunch with Emily." The lie comes effortlessly. "Nothing exciting." "Sounds nice." We sit in comfortable silence, drinking coffee like a normal married couple, like people who love each other. My phone buzzes. A text from Greg Paulson. "Got your message. Call me ASAP." "Work?" Ashley asks. "Yeah, I should take this." I walk into my office and close the door. Greg answers on the first ring. "Mark, what's going on? Your message sounded—" "I need you to do something for me," I interrupt. "And I need you to do it without asking questions." There's a pause. "Okay. I'm sending you files. A lot of them. I need you to review everything and prepare documentation for criminal charges. Fraud, embezzlement, corporate espionage, identity theft, whatever applies." "Jesus, Mark, what happened?" "Friday morning, 10 a.m., Austin. There's going to be a meeting. I need you there with everything ready to go. Can you do that?" Another pause. "I'll clear my schedule. One more thing. I need you to contact the FBI, White Collar Crime Division. Tell them I have evidence of an interstate fraud operation." "The FBI? Mark, you need to tell me what's happening." "Friday," I say. "I'll explain everything Friday. Right now, I need you to trust me." "All right, send me the files." I hang up and stand at the window, looking out at the backyard. Ashley's garden is in full bloom. Roses she planted 3 years ago, claiming they reminded her of her grandmother. Another lie, probably. I think about the anonymous emailer's final message. Do what you have to do. Friday morning, Ashley and Jason will walk into that attorney's office expecting to finalize their exit strategy. Instead, they're going to find me, and I'm going to end this. The email arrives at 3:47 a.m. Thursday morning, while I'm still hunched over my laptop in the home office, finalizing the asset protection strategy with Lawrence Whitfield, my attorney. Subject line: change of plans. My stomach clenches. I've been expecting another message from my anonymous benefactor, but the timing sets off alarm bells. They moved the meeting. Tomorrow 9 a.m., same location, Meridian Tower, Suite 1, 840. Jason will be there at 8:30 to prep with the attorney. Ashley leaves the house at 7:15. You need to be in that office before Jason arrives. The attorney's name is David Russo. He doesn't know he's facilitating fraud. He thinks he's handling a legitimate business dissolution. I've attached his background. Use it. One more thing. Check your doorstep. You'll need what's there. I stare at the screen, my mind racing through implications. They moved the timeline up by a full day. Why? Did something spook them? Or is this part of their standard protocol? Keep the mark off balance until the very end. Mark? You still there? Lawrence's voice crackles through my earbuds. Yeah. They moved the meeting to tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. A pause. That's aggressive. Doesn't give us much time to coordinate with the FBI. How much time do we need? Agent Reeves said she could have a team in position by Friday afternoon. Tomorrow morning is... He stops. It's cutting it close. Let me make some calls. Do that. I'll call you back in an hour. I end the connection and walk to the front door, careful to avoid the creaking floorboard outside the master bedroom. Ashley's still asleep, her breathing deep and regular when I pause to listen. The package on the doorstep is small, wrapped in plain brown paper. No return address, no postage. Hand-delivered. Inside, a keycard, a USB drive, and a handwritten note on plain white paper. Russo's office. Back entrance, parking garage level. Security code 4782. The USB contains everything you'll need. Financial records, communications between Jason and Ashley going back 5 years, documentation of their previous marks. Give it to the FBI, but more importantly, show it to Russo first. Make him understand what he almost became complicit in. He's a decent man. He'll help you. Be there at 8 a.m. Before Jason. Trust me on this. One last thing. There's a camera in your bedroom closet. Top shelf, behind the shoeboxes. Ashley's been documenting your reactions, your routines. She likes to review footage of her marks after she's moved on. Take it down, but don't let her know you found it. You'll want that evidence. The note isn't signed. I stand in the doorway, holding these items, and something shifts in my chest. This person, whoever they are, has been watching my house closely enough to know when I'd be awake, when Ashley would be asleep, how to deliver this package without triggering any alerts. The thought should terrify me. Instead, I feel a strange kinship with this anonymous ally. I return to the office and plug in the USB drive. The files are meticulously organized. Folders labeled by victim name and date range. I recognize some of the names from the previous email, the 3 confirmed marks who lost everything. But there are more. 7 folders in total, spanning 12 years. I wasn't even the most recent. I open the folder labeled Brennan, Mark, 2012 to 2024. The first file is a PDF, a detailed dossier on me, compiled before Ashley and I ever met. My business financials, my father's recent death, and the inheritance I'd received, my relationship history, my routines, even my grief patterns were documented and analyzed. Target profile: high value, emotionally vulnerable, low social support network. Recent loss creates opportunity for accelerated attachment. Estimated timeline to marriage: 8 to 12 months. Estimated asset extraction timeline: 10 to 15 years. They'd planned to bleed me dry over a decade and a half. The next files are worse. Photographs of me, taken without my knowledge. At my office, at the gym, having coffee with clients. There are audio recordings, conversations I'd had with Ashley in our home, intimate moments I'd thought were private. And then, the videos. I force myself to watch one. It's footage from the bedroom closet camera, dated 3 weeks ago. I'm getting dressed for work, talking to Ashley about a client meeting. She's sitting on the bed, seemingly engaged in the conversation, asking thoughtful questions about my strategy. But the metadata overlay on the video, added by whoever compiled this evidence, shows a text conversation happening simultaneously. Ashley messaging Jason. He's going to Denver next week, 3 days. That's when we move the Caldwell account documents. I'll photograph everything Tuesday night. I watch myself in the video, completely oblivious, trusting, talking about maybe taking a vacation this summer, maybe finally getting the cabin's dock repaired. Ashley smiles at me. That sounds perfect, honey. Then she types to Jason. He's talking about summer plans, still completely clueless. This is almost too easy. I close the video file before I put my fist through the monitor. The rest of the USB drive contains financial records showing the full scope of their operation. Bank statements, wire transfers, cryptocurrency wallets. They've stolen over $2 million across their 7 victims. The money flows through a complex network of shell companies and offshore accounts, eventually consolidating in the Cayman Islands. But here's what catches my attention. Someone has annotated these files, highlighting specific transactions, adding notes about legal vulnerabilities, pointing out evidence trails that would stand up in court. This isn't just documentation. It's a prosecution roadmap. My anonymous ally isn't just helping me. They're building a case that could put Jason and Ashley away for decades. I check the time. 4:23 a.m. Ashley's alarm will go off at 6:30. I have 2 hours. I move through the house silently, climbing onto the closet shelf. The camera is exactly where the note said it would be. A small device disguised as a phone charger, tucked behind a stack of shoeboxes. The SD card inside likely contains months of footage. I pocket the camera and return everything else to its original position. Back in the office, I draft an email to Lawrence, attaching selected files from the USB drive. Not everything. I need to keep some cards close. But enough to show him we're not dealing with a simple affair in asset dissipation. This is organized crime. His response comes back within 10 minutes. Jesus Christ, I'm calling Agent Reeves now. We need federal involvement immediately. My phone buzzes. Lawrence, not waiting for email. This changes everything, he says without preamble. This isn't just fraud, Mark. This is racketeering, pattern of criminal activity across state lines. The FBI will want this case. Can they move fast enough? The meeting's in less than 5 hours. They'll have to. I'm sending everything to Agent Reeves now. She's going to want to talk to you directly, probably within the hour. Fine. But Lawrence, I need to be in that room tomorrow morning. I need to face them. A long pause. The FBI might not allow that. You could compromise the investigation. Then they can arrest me after. I don't care. I've spent 12 years being played. I'm not sitting in a car while someone else closes this out. Mark, non-negotiable. He sighs. I'll see what I can do. But you need to follow their lead once we're in position. No cowboy moves. No confrontations that jeopardize the case. Understood? Understood. After we hang up, I sit in the darkness of my office, listening to the house settle around me. Somewhere above me, Ashley sleeps peacefully, dreaming whatever dreams a predator dreams. In 14 hours, this will all be over. My phone vibrates with a new email. No subject line, from the same anonymous address. You're doing well. Stay focused. Tomorrow, you take back everything they stole. Not just money, but your dignity, your truth, your future. They think they're predators. Show them what an apex predator looks like. See you on the other side. I read the message 3 times, looking for clues about the sender's identity. The phrasing is different from previous emails, more personal, almost encouraging, like a coach before a big game, or a fellow survivor watching someone else finally get their shot at justice. I delete the email and begin preparing for tomorrow. There's still work to do, coordinating with the FBI, finalizing the documentation, making sure every piece is in place. At 6:15 a.m., I hear Ashley's alarm through the ceiling. The shower starts running. She's beginning her morning routine, completely unaware that her carefully constructed world is about to collapse. I allow myself a cold smile. Let her have these last few hours of certainty. By this time tomorrow, she'll understand what it feels like to have everything stripped away. The alarm on my phone vibrates at 5:45 a.m., 3 hours of sleep that felt like 15 minutes of blinking. Ashley's still out cold beside me, one arm flung across my side of the bed like we're some normal couple. Like she hasn't spent 16 years perfecting the art of human demolition. I shower in the guest bathroom. Can't risk waking her. Can't risk her seeing anything off in my expression, my body language, the way I might look at her now that I know what she is. The anonymous emailer's words keep cycling through my head while I dress. See you on the other side. Who are they? A previous victim who somehow survived? A family member of someone who didn't? The level of surveillance they've had on Ashley and Jason suggests resources, time, patience, the kind of cold, methodical planning that comes from profound personal stakes. I'm pulling on my shoes when my phone buzzes. Another email from the anonymous account. Good morning, Mark. By now you should be preparing for Austin. A few final pieces of information. 1. David Russo's office has 3 exits. Ashley and Jason will use the north stairwell if they run. FBI should cover it. **** 2. Jason's phone contains texts with 2 other active marks, one in Phoenix, one in Seattle. They're running multiple cons simultaneously. Make sure FBI sees this. 3. Ashley will try to act pregnant at the meeting. She's done it before. Don't let it work on you. 4. The Costa Rica property is in a shell company name, Meridian Holdings, LLC. It's worth $1.2 million. Make sure it's seized. 5. Most important, Jason carries a gun. Glock 19, ankle holster, right leg. He's never used it, but he has it. Tell the FBI, keep your distance. ***. My hands go cold. A gun. Of course he has a gun. These people have destroyed at least 7 lives, probably more. They've pushed at least 3 people to suicide. They're cornered animals now, even if they don't know it yet. I forward the email to Whitfield and Agent Reeves with the subject line. Urgent. Armed subject. Reeves calls within 90 seconds. Mr. Brennan, we're taking this seriously. How reliable is your source? They've been right about everything so far. Everything. I wouldn't bet against them. We'll have armed agents in position. I need you to understand. If Jason Kelly is armed, this situation becomes significantly more dangerous. We may need to take him down before he enters the building. Whatever keeps people safe. That includes you. I want you wearing a vest under your shirt. Non-negotiable. Fine. We'll have one waiting at the Austin field office. You'll pick it up at 7:30 a.m. That gives you time to get there before the 9 a.m. meeting. I check my watch. 6:02 a.m. My flight leaves at 7:45. I'd planned to go straight to Russo's office from the airport, but the timeline still works. I'll be there. Mr. Brennan, Mark, I know you want to see this through, but if at any point I tell you to leave that building, you leave. Understood? Understood. After we hang up, I stand in the guest room for a long moment, looking at my reflection in the mirror. I look exactly like what I am. A man who hasn't slept, running on adrenaline and the kind of anger that's gone past hot rage into something colder and more permanent. The house is silent except for the coffee maker I set to auto-brew. I pour a cup, add cream, carry it upstairs like I've done 1,000 mornings. Ashley's awake, sitting up in bed with her phone. Not the burner, that's still hidden in her closet where I left it. Her regular iPhone. Hey, she says, smiling. You're up early. Couldn't sleep. Big day. Your Austin thing? Yeah. I sip the coffee, keeping my voice level. Should be back tomorrow afternoon. I'll miss you. She pats the bed beside her. Come here for a minute? Every instinct screams at me to refuse, to keep distance between us, but I can't afford to seem off. Not now. Not when we're this close. I sit on the edge of the bed. She leans against my shoulder. I was thinking, when you get back, maybe we could finally talk about trying again. You know, for a baby. The coffee turns to acid in my stomach. Another fake pregnancy? Another layer of manipulation to keep me trapped? To make divorce harder? To squeeze more time and money out of me before they vanish? Maybe, I say. Let's talk when I'm back. I love you, Mark. The words are so easy for her. So practiced. How many times has she said them to how many men? How many times has she looked into someone's eyes and spoken those words while planning their destruction? Love you too, I say, and the lie tastes like poison. I kiss her forehead, can't quite manage her lips, and stand. I need to get going. Traffic to the airport. Text me when you land? Of course. I'm halfway down the stairs when she calls out, Mark? I freeze, one hand on the railing. Yeah? Thank you. For everything. For being patient with me. For us. I don't trust myself to respond. Just raise a hand in acknowledgement and keep walking. The Uber to the airport takes 25 minutes. I spend them reading through the files on the USB drive again, memorizing details. 3 previous victims confirmed destroyed. Robert Patterson in Portland, Michael Torres in Dallas, James Anderson in Minneapolis. All 3 lost everything. Patterson and Torres committed suicide within 6 months. Anderson survived but lost his business, his house, his reputation. He's working retail now, living with his sister. 7 folders total. 4 names I don't recognize yet. Folders labeled KC, PHX, SEA, and DEN. Denver. My city. The one I just left. I opened the DEN folder with shaking hands. Photos of a man in his early 40s. Professional headshots, candid shots, images clearly taken with a telephoto lens. His name is embedded in the file metadata, Thomas Ryan. There are text messages between Ashley and someone labeled M, not Jason, someone else, a third conspirator. How's the Ryan mark progressing? Slow. He's cautious. Divorced before. Trust issues. Jay says to drop him if he's not worth the time. He's worth it. Software company, $800,000 annual revenue. No kids. Parents dead. Perfect target. Just needs more grooming. Timeline? 6 more months. Maybe less if I can speed up the intimacy. The messages are dated 4 months ago. I search Thomas Ryan's name on my phone. Find him immediately. Founder of a software consulting firm in Denver. Divorced 3 years ago. No social media presence except LinkedIn. He's me. Another version of me. And Ashley was working him while married to me. How many others? How many men are walking around right now thinking they've met someone special, not knowing they're being sized up like livestock? My phone buzzes. Whitfield. Mark, I just saw Reeves's email about the gun. Are you sure you want to be in that room? I'm sure. This has gone beyond divorce proceedings. This is a federal case now. You don't need to be there. Yeah, I do. He's quiet for a moment. All right. But I'm coming too. I'll meet you at the FBI office at 7:30. You don't have to? Yes, I do. You're my client. And frankly, I want to see these people go down. The flight to Austin is 90 minutes of turbulence and recycled air. I can't eat the complimentary snack. Can't focus on my laptop. Just sit there, watching clouds and thinking about Thomas Ryan in Denver. About the men in Phoenix and Seattle. About how many others there might be that we haven't found yet. The anonymous emailer knows about them, has evidence. But they've only given me information about my case. Why? Why not warn the others? Unless they plan to. Unless I'm just the first domino. We land at 8:47 a.m., 13 minutes before the meeting. I text Whitfield that I'm on the ground, then sprint through the terminal. The FBI field office is 7 minutes from the airport. I make it in 6, running 2 red lights. Agent Reeves meets me in the lobby with a bulletproof vest and a grim expression. Jason Kelly and Ashley Brennan landed 40 minutes ago, she says, while I pull the vest on under my shirt. They're at a coffee shop 3 blocks from Russo's office. We have eyes on them. How do they seem? Calm, confident. They have no idea we're coming. Whitfield arrives, slightly out of breath. Everyone ready? Reeves hands us both earpieces. You'll be able to hear us, but don't speak unless absolutely necessary. We go in 2 minutes after you're in position. Mark, you sit closest to the door. If shooting starts, you hit the floor immediately. Clear? Clear. Let's go end this. The FBI field office sits in a nondescript building on East 8th Street, the kind of place you'd walk past without a second glance. I arrive at 7:47 a.m., exhausted from a sleepless night but running on pure adrenaline. My phone shows 3 missed calls from Ashley. She must have woken up and found me gone. I silence it. Agent Reeves meets me in the lobby, a woman in her early 40s with sharp eyes and the kind of no-nonsense demeanor that comes from years of dealing with criminals. She doesn't offer pleasantries. Mr. Brennan, conference room 3, we have 90 minutes. She leads me through a maze of corridors to a room where 2 other agents wait. A younger man introduced as Agent Torres, and an older agent named Mitchell who looks like he's been doing this since before I was born. A laptop sits open on the conference table, connected to what looks like surveillance equipment. Walk us through everything one more time, Reeves says. Start with the anonymous emails. I've already sent them copies, but I understand the process. They need to hear it, verify it, make sure I'm not some jealous husband manufacturing evidence. So I walk them through it again. The discovery of the burner phone, the anonymous contact, the revelation that my entire marriage was a fabrication. These emails, Torres says, scrolling through his laptop. The sender routes through multiple VPNs, uses disposable email addresses, changes domains every few messages. Whoever they are, they know what they're doing. We've seen this pattern before, Mitchell adds, his voice gravelly. 3 years ago, we investigated a similar case. Victim was a venture capitalist in San Francisco. By the time he realized what was happening, the perpetrators had vanished with $1.3 million. He received anonymous tips too, but not in time. You think it's connected? I ask. The MO matches. Long-term romantic con, corporate espionage, carefully constructed false identities. But that case went cold. No arrests, no recovery of funds. He looks at me with something that might be sympathy. You're the first victim to get ahead of them. Reeves pulls up a file on the laptop. We've been building a case on Jason Kelly for 8 months. He's good, really good. We suspected he was running cons, but we couldn't prove it. His financial records are clean, his background checks out. On paper, he's a successful executive with a spotless reputation. And Ashley, the name still tastes bitter. Ashley Brennan doesn't exist, Torres says flatly. Or rather, she did. The real Ashley Brennan died in a car accident in 2009 at age 23. Your wife has been using her identity for over a decade. We don't know her real name yet. The room goes quiet. Somehow, hearing it stated so baldly makes it worse. I've been sleeping next to a ghost, a fiction, for 12 years. The woman you know as Ashley Kelly, Jason's legal wife, that's also a stolen identity, Reeves continues. The real Ashley Kelly died in 2007. They're using the same first name, different last names, different social security numbers. It's sophisticated identity theft paired with romantic fraud. How many others? I ask. Mitchell pulls up a document. We've confirmed 7 victims over 15 years. The 3 suicides your anonymous source mentioned are real. Robert Campos in 2015, Andrew Flynn in 2017, and Kevin Mathis in 2019. All 3 lost substantial assets. All 3 had their businesses destroyed by corporate espionage. All 3 were married to women who turned out to be using stolen identities. Jesus. The pattern is always the same, Reeves says. They target successful men in tech or finance, unmarried or divorced, financially stable, somewhat isolated. The woman enters their life, usually through professional networking or carefully staged chance encounters. She becomes indispensable. They marry. She slowly gains access to everything: finances, business information, client data. Then, after a period of years, they execute the exit strategy and vanish. Why so long? I ask. Why not just take the money and run after a year? Because they're not just stealing money, Torres explains. They're stealing entire business ecosystems, client lists, proprietary information, strategic plans. Your anonymous source was right. They sell that information to competitors. The longer they wait, the more valuable the intelligence becomes. Plus, the longer the marriage lasts, the more legitimate it appears. Harder to prosecute as fraud when you've been married for over a decade. My phone buzzes again. Ashley. I show the screen to Reeves. Don't answer, she says. Let her wonder. It'll make her nervous, more likely to make mistakes. What about David Russo? I ask. The attorney they're meeting with? We contacted him last night, Mitchell says. He's cooperating fully. Had no idea he was facilitating fraud. He thinks he's helping a couple transfer assets before an international move. We've convinced him to proceed as planned. So the meeting is still happening? 9 a.m., his office on West 6th Street. We'll have agents in position by 8:30. You'll be in a surveillance van half a block away. Reeves leans forward. Here's how this works. They arrive, they sit down with Russo, they start the paperwork. We let them get far enough to demonstrate clear intent. Signing fraudulent documents, attempting to transfer your assets. Then we move in. What if they run? They won't have the chance. We'll have the building surrounded, agents in the lobby and stairwells. Torres will be posing as Russo's paralegal, so we'll have someone in the room. She pauses. But I need you to understand something, Mr. Brennan. This is a federal investigation now. Wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy, corporate espionage, these are serious charges. Once we arrest them, this becomes our case. You'll get your day in court, but it might take months or even years. I understand. There's something else, Mitchell says. He pulls up a photo on the laptop, a surveillance shot of Jason Kelly entering a building. Your source mentioned he carries a weapon. We've confirmed he has a concealed carry permit under his legal name. We have to assume he's armed. The reality of it settles over me. This isn't just about divorce or financial recovery anymore. This is a federal takedown of career criminals who've destroyed lives, driven men to suicide, operated with impunity for 15 years. The anonymous emails, I say. Can you trace them? Reeves and Torres exchange a glance. We're working on it, Torres says carefully. But whoever they are, they're extremely careful. The last email you received, now you're ready. Do what you have to do. Came from a server in Romania, routed through proxies in 3 different countries. By the time we trace it, the server will be wiped. But you have theories. Another exchange of glances. We think it might be someone connected to one of the previous victims, Mitchell says. Someone with resources, technical expertise, and a personal stake in bringing them down. Could be a family member of one of the suicides. Could be a victim who survived and has been tracking them. Could even be a former partner who had a falling out. Or, Torres adds, it could be someone inside their operation. These cons require support. People who create false documents, establish fake identities, launder money. Maybe someone got cut out or decided they wanted revenge. My phone buzzes a third time, then a fourth. Ashley is panicking now. Reeves checks her watch. It's 8:15. We need to move into position. Torres, get the van ready. Mitchell, coordinate with the Austin PD. I want uniformed officers on standby 3 blocks out, ready to secure the perimeter if this goes sideways. They stand, gathering equipment. I remain seated, my phone still buzzing in my hand. Mr. Brennan, Reeves says, are you ready for this? I think about the past 12 years. The miscarriages that never happened. The grief I shared with a woman who was performing grief. The cabin my father left me, now contaminated by her presence. The clients I've lost, the reputation damage, the $200,000 stolen from accounts I built through years of work. I think about Robert Campos, Andrew Flynn, Kevin Mathis, men who couldn't survive what was done to them. Yes, I say, I'm ready. The courtroom in Austin was nothing like I'd imagined. Smaller, more bureaucratic, with fluorescent lights that made everyone look slightly ill. I sat in the gallery watching as the judge reviewed the plea agreements, my attorney Lawrence Whitfield beside me, solid and reassuring. Ashley, or whatever her real name was, stood at the defendant's table in an orange jumpsuit. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail. Without makeup, without the carefully constructed persona, she looked ordinary. Smaller somehow. Just a woman in her 40s who'd made terrible choices. Jason Kelly stood beside her, his expression blank. The gun the FBI had warned about was never drawn. He'd surrendered without resistance when agents flooded Russo's office, his hands raised before anyone even shouted commands. Whatever predatory confidence he'd possessed evaporated the moment he realized the trap had closed. The defendants have agreed to plead guilty to all charges, the judge said, her voice flat and professional. Wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, corporate espionage. In exchange for their cooperation in identifying additional victims and recovering assets, the government has agreed to recommend concurrent sentences of 15 years in federal prison. 15 years. It wasn't enough. Could never be enough for what they'd done to 7 men, 3 of whom were dead. But it was something. And the restitution agreement meant I'd recover most of what they'd stolen, plus damages. Does the government wish to be heard? The judge asked. Agent Reeves stood. Your Honor, the defendant's cooperation has been substantial. They've provided information on 4 additional ongoing operations, leading to the identification and protection of potential victims in Phoenix, Seattle, Denver, and Miami. Their testimony will be crucial in dismantling a larger network of fraud operations. 4 more men who wouldn't lose everything. 4 more families who wouldn't bury someone they loved. The judge accepted the pleas. The bailiff led Ashley and Jason away. She didn't look at me, not once during the entire proceeding. Maybe she was ashamed. More likely, I'd simply ceased to exist for her the moment I stopped being useful. Outside the courthouse, Lawrence clapped me on the shoulder. It's over, Mark. You won. But standing there in the Texas heat, watching people flow past on their way to ordinary lives, I didn't feel like a winner. I felt tired. Hollow. Like someone had scooped out everything I'd believed about love and trust and left behind just the shell. The house closes escrow next week, Lawrence continued. The business accounts are secured. Your clients have been notified about the data breach. Most are staying with you, by the way. They respect how you handled this. And the other victims? The FBI is working with them. The restitution fund will be divided proportionally. It won't make them whole, but it's something. I nodded, watching the traffic flow past. Somewhere in one of those cars might be someone like I'd been 6 months ago. Trusting, building a life, not knowing they were being sized up for destruction. There's one more thing, Lawrence said, pulling an envelope from his briefcase. This arrived at my office this morning. No return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper, handwritten in neat block letters. Mark, you did well. 7 victims became 7 survivors because you had the courage to fight back. My name was Thomas Patterson. Robert Patterson, the Portland victim who died in 2015, was my brother. I watched him lose everything, watched him spiral, couldn't stop him from stepping in front of that train. I've spent 8 years tracking Jason and Ashley, documenting their operations, waiting for the right moment. You were that moment, the right victim at the right time. Someone strong enough to survive the truth, smart enough to act on it, angry enough to see it through. The others are being contacted now. The men in Phoenix, Seattle, Denver, Miami. They're receiving packages with evidence just like you did. They'll have the choice you had, to fight back or to become another casualty. I hope they choose to fight. You asked me once who I was, why I was helping. Now you know. This was never about you specifically. It was about stopping them, about making sure my brother didn't die for nothing. Thank you for being strong enough to finish what I started. Live well, Mark. You've earned it. Asterisk dash. Thomas asterisk. I read the letter twice, then folded it carefully and put it back in the envelope. You going to give that to the FBI? Lawrence asked. I thought about Thomas Patterson, spending 8 years building a case against the people who destroyed his brother. 8 years of surveillance, investigation, planning. 8 years of his life consumed by the need for justice. No, I said. I don't think I am. Lawrence nodded slowly. Probably for the best. 6 months later, I sold the cabin in Wisconsin. Couldn't stand to go there anymore, knowing what it had become. I donated the proceeds to a suicide prevention foundation in Robert Patterson's name. The business recovered. Kevin and Brian, my partners, stood by me through everything. We implemented new security protocols, rebuilt client trust, and actually came out stronger. Turns out almost losing everything teaches you what matters. I dated briefly a woman named Jennifer I met at a conference. She was kind, intelligent, genuine. But when she suggested moving in together after 3 months, I felt my chest tighten with panic. I ended things as gently as I could. She deserved someone who could trust again. I wasn't there yet. Maybe I never would be. But I was okay with that. I'd learned something Ashley could never understand. That being alone isn't the same as being destroyed. That rebuilding yourself, even if you rebuild smaller and more cautious, is still a victory. The anonymous emails stopped after the trial. Thomas Patterson vanished back into whatever life he'd built around his 8-year mission. Sometimes I wondered if he'd found peace, or if revenge had just left him as hollow as I felt. Then I'd remember the 4 men who didn't lose everything because of him. The families who didn't bury someone they loved. The pattern that was finally broken. Maybe that was enough. Maybe that had to be enough. On the 1-year anniversary of finding that burner phone, I drove to my father's grave. I hadn't been there since the funeral, the one where Ashley had held my hand and cried, performing grief for a man she'd never met. I sat on the grass beside the headstone and told him everything. About the betrayal, the investigation, the trial. About how I'd survived something that had killed other men. About how I was still here, still standing, still building a life worth living. You always said trust was earned, not given, I said to the carved granite. I should have listened better. But even as I said it, I knew that wasn't quite right. Trust wasn't the problem. Ashley was the problem. Jason was the problem. People who saw other humans as resources to be exploited, lives as games to be won. The world needed trust to function. Needed people who could love without constantly calculating the angles, who could build partnerships without wondering when the knife would come. If people like Ashley destroyed that, if they made everyone as paranoid and isolated as they were, then they won even from prison. I wouldn't let them win. Not completely. So I kept working, Kept building, kept showing up for my partners, my clients, my friends, kept leaving myself open to the possibility that not everyone was running a con, that some connections were real. It was harder now, required conscious effort where before it had been natural. But I did it anyway, because the alternative was becoming what they were: hollow, calculating, incapable of genuine human connection. The final piece came 18 months after the trial. A package arrived at my office, postmarked from Portland. Inside was a photo of two men on a hiking trail, arms around each other's shoulders, smiling at the camera. One was older, maybe 60. The other was younger, with Robert Patterson's eyes. On the back, a note. My brother and me, 6 months before he met her. He was happy once. I wanted you to see that. Thomas asterisk. I pinned the photo to my office wall, next to my business license and the framed article about our company's expansion. A reminder that behind every victim was a real person with a real life. That what Ashley and Jason did wasn't just financial crime, it was human destruction. And a reminder that some people fight back. Some people spend 8 years building cases and protecting strangers. Some people turn their grief into purpose. I could do that too. Was doing it in smaller ways. By surviving. By rebuilding. By refusing to let what happened to me become who I was. There's a philosophical question buried in all of this, one I've wrestled with during countless sleepless nights. If you can't trust your own judgment about the person you sleep beside for 12 years, what can you trust? The answer, I've learned, isn't to stop trusting. It's to understand that trust is always a risk, always a gamble. Sometimes you lose. The trick is to build a life strong enough to survive the losses. Ashley didn't destroy me because I had something she couldn't steal. A foundation built on real work, real relationships, real accomplishments. She could take my money, my time, my sense of security, but she couldn't take the skills that earned the money, the character that built the relationships, the determination that created the accomplishments. Those were mine. Always had been. Always would be. The real victory wasn't putting her in prison or recovering the stolen assets. It was waking up each morning and choosing to keep building, keep trusting, keep living. Not in spite of what happened, but informed by it. I'm more careful now, more cautious. I verify things I used to take on faith, but I'm not broken, not destroyed. Not another casualty in their long trail of wreckage. I'm still here, still standing, still myself. And in the end, that's the only revenge that matters. Refusing to let them turn me into something less than human. Refusing to let their emptiness become mine. Last month, I got an email from Michael Torres, one of the previous victims, the one who'd survived but lost everything. The FBI had connected us through the restitution process. Mark, he wrote, I heard what you did, how you fought back. I wanted to say thank you. Not just for the restitution money, though, that helps, but for proving it was possible to win. For 8 years, I've been carrying this shame, thinking I was stupid for not seeing it coming. Knowing you beat them, it helps. It really helps. I wrote back that night. You weren't stupid. They were professionals. We were just people trying to love someone. That's not a weakness. It's what makes us human. Don't let them take that from you. I don't know if he believed me. Some days I barely believe it myself. But I keep saying it anyway. Keep acting like it's true. Keep building a life based on the premise that trust and connection are worth the risk. Because the alternative, a world where everyone is Ashley, where every relationship is a transaction, where love is just another con, that's not a world worth living in. So I choose differently. I choose to believe that most people are real, that most connections are genuine, that the predators are rare and the humans are common. I choose to trust that Thomas Patterson found some peace after his 8-year mission, that the 4 men he saved are building good lives, that Robert Patterson's death meant something in the end. I choose to believe that 12 years weren't wasted, but were instead an expensive education in human nature, and that I'm better, stronger, wiser for having survived it. Some days, I even believe it. And on the days I don't, I look at that photo on my office wall. Two brothers on a hiking trail, happy and whole. And I remember, before the destruction came the life. Before the con came the person. That person still exists in me, scarred, cautious, harder to reach than before, but still there. Still human, still capable of building something real. That's the lesson, if there is one. You can survive betrayal without becoming the betrayer. You can lose trust without losing yourself. You can be victimized without becoming a victim. You can be broken and still be whole, and sometimes that's enough.